leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me, I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like...
Peace, family, and welcome back to Shifting the Culture podcast. I'm your host, Brother King Cam, and I just want to apologize for earlier with the show. We was having some technical difficulties, and hopefully they have been cleared up tonight. Now, we're not going to have the guests because obviously time ran out for that, so we'll be rescheduling. Well, we have rescheduled with our guests tomorrow to talk about closing the wealth gap in Black America, so we'll be discussing all of that tomorrow. But tonight, I just wanted to come on and I wanted to talk about some recent news, some breaking news where P. Diddy was arrested today. Diddy was arrested in New York City and was charged with sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Sex trafficking and racketeering charges. So want to go ahead and get that pulled up for y'all. But in the meantime, I need you to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, family. Hit that bell, stay notified each and every time that we drop a video. Facebook, family, I need you to like and to share and comment. And I also need the Twitter family to retweet. All right? So, yeah, let's get into what's going on. Because it's a lot happening out here. It's a lot that's happening, fam. And, yeah, man. Oh, and I also got to talk about this. Rich Homie. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the family. Rich Homie Quan, who passed away last week. There was the homegoing service for him today here in Atlanta. You know, man, so shout out to the family, Rich Homie, man. Straight Atlanta legend. You know, I grew up on Rich Homie. I want to say he came out with his first album, 2014, you know, I think it was 2014, 2012, around that time frame. And, man, Rich Homie was that dude, bro. Rich Homie was that dude. And then, you know, he got a bunch of hits. He got Walk Through. He got, you know, Lifestyle with Young Thug. Man, he got so many other hits. Man, we definitely going to be missed. Straight Atlanta legend. So R.I.P. to Rich Homie Quan forever. You know, man, the town hurting on that one. But now, gotta get to Diddy. So let me do this. Boom. I hate these headlines though that they got for the brother though. I ain't even gonna hold you. I do not like these headlines they got up here for Diddy. But look, check this out. So it tells you, excuse me, Sean Diddy Combs arrests freak-offs as center of sex trafficking, racketeering charges. Says prosecutors accused Combs of witness tampering, saying at a hearing today that the rap mogul's employees tried to ensure his ex-girlfriend and hotel employees wouldn't say anything about a beating at a Los Angeles hotel 8 years ago. Video of the assault, which captured Combs kicking and stomping on the singer Cassie at the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016, disappeared from the hotel server, prosecutors said. CNN later obtained video of the attack and published it. Diddy apologized for the accident, which was part of a lawsuit Cassie filed last year, and called his behavior inexcusable. Prosecutors said They have recordings of Combs telling a bandmate and another woman who has accused Combs of sexual assault in the lawsuit that she didn't have to worry about anything and she was willing to be on his side. Okay. And then they go into authorities found bags of pink powder in Combs' hotel room. Bags of pink powder were found in Sean Combs' hotel room after he flew to New York on the advice of his lawyer 2 weeks ago to await arrest. Prosecutors said the powder was not tested, but prosecutors said it appeared to be narcotics and that similar bags previously seized at Combs' properties tested positive for drugs, including ecstasy. Authorities have interviewed more than 50 witnesses and collected dozens of cell phones, laptops, and hard drives, and they are in possession of video that they say shows the coerced sex acts that Combs is accused of orchestrating. And Sean Combs' defense lawyer argued that his client is in no way should be mentioned in the same sentence as some of the nation's most notorious sex criminals. The music mogul's defense attorney, Mark Agnifilio, said Combs is not disgraced singer R. Kelly, sex cult leader Keith Rainier, or accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. This is different, he told the court. These were consenting adults. So, with all that being said, family, those are the charges. Although that's kind of the summary of what took place. That's the summary of what took place. So let's see. I want to see here. I want to see what the charges are. Okay, so it says Sean Diddy Combs was charged with sex trafficking, racketeering, and conspiracy and prostitution transportation. MSNBC legal analyst Lisa Rubin, former prosecutor Christian Gibbons Fenden, and former federal prosecutor Christian Greenberg joined Chris Jansen to provide more insight on the charges. So this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the RICO. I'm not going to talk about the charges specifically when it comes to Diddy or rather, we're not going to talk about his innocence or guilt really because we don't know. That whole process got to go through that whole process, right? So in the meantime, we want to just kind of go over what this is because you see a lot of artists, a lot of music moguls, a lot of, famous black men specifically, a lot of black men with influence being hit with this RICO charge. So let me just go over what the RICO means, okay? So the RICO is a racketeer, influence, and corrupt organizations. That's what it stands for. Charge is a federal law that allows the government to prosecute people for their involvement in organized crime. Okay, so this law was put in place so that they can combat the mafia. And here's the thing. The reason why the feds had to come up with this law and pass this law was because of the organization in which the mob operated in. If you study any mob history, mob organizations, then you know they're very well organized. They have structure. They have tiers. They have almost like a military structure for their organization. So it's hard to tie things back to one individual. There's a chain of command. So you have the boss that sits at the top, and then you have lieutenants. You have underbosses. You have all these different things within the mob structure. And because of that structure, it was hard to pinpoint crimes on the boss or whoever was the head of the crime family. It was hard to get those charges and have them stick to whoever the head of the crime family was. So in order to do that, they had to create a new law. And that was called the RICO. All right. So let me see. And we can get a little bit heavy into this RICO right here. All right. So the power of RICO lies in this conspiracy provision based on an enterprise rationale that allows tying together apparently unrelated crimes with a common objective into a prosecutable pattern of racketeering. In addition, RICO provides for severer penalties and permits a defendant to be convicted and separately punished for both the underlying crimes that constitute the pattern of racketeering activity and for the substantial violation of RICO. So what that is saying is it basically allows for the prosecutors, the federal prosecutors, to tie in unrelated crimes. Things that the person that's being accused of RICO didn't necessarily have anything to do with or have direct contact with. But based on the conspiracy aspect that they had knowledge of it, now they become accountable for it. And that's essentially what the racketeering is, because they could say, federal prosecutors, the federal government could say that the mob crime boss had knowledge of what was taking place, obviously because he's the head of the organization. There's nothing that moves without him knowing. So they used the same thing when they put a RICO on YSL and said that none of the crimes that these other people were committing were done without the knowledge of Young Thug. What they're saying with, or gonna say about Diddy, is that none of these crimes took place without the knowledge of Diddy knowing that these things was happening. And they did the same thing with R. Kelly. They said none of this stuff was taking place without R. Kelly knowing. Right? He didn't know. There's no way that he didn't know about these girls. There's no way that he didn't know about all of these different things that was taking place, even though there was channels that they had to go through, right? So that's what the RICO is about. The power, as it says, lies in this conspiracy provision. So let me get my book. Let a minister go into conspiracy, boy. Cause see, y'all gonna learn about this conspiracy piece. Because it's here we go. Because this is important to know. Now look, let's get into this, right? Because the minister break this down, and this will help us to understand even further about the power of this RICO. So the minister says in study guide number 17, hypocrisy and conspiracy, right? He says that gives us the definition of conspiracy: the action of conspiring, a combination of persons for an evil or unlawful purpose. Conspire is from a Latin word meaning to breed together, accord, harmonize, agree, combine, or unite in a purpose, plot mischief together, and secretly. It especially applies to treason and murder. The legal definition of conspiracy is as follows. So this is what the law is going to go by, the legal definition of conspiracy: a combination or confederacy between two or more persons formed for the purpose of committing by their joint efforts some unlawful or criminal act, or some act which is lawful in itself but becomes unlawful when done by the concerted action of the conspirators, or for the purpose of using criminal of unlawful means to the commission of an act not in itself unlawful. So you hear how some things could be lawful but then made unlawful. Unlawful things could be made lawful. That legal jargon, that's where a lot of us get hemmed up, because we don't know the law. And the law is structured in a way that if you don't understand it, then you don't know how it's implied. You don't know how your actions fall within the context of the law. And then that's how they get us tripped up. So it says that things that were lawful in and of itself becomes unlawful when done by the concerted action of the conspirators. So legally, something that is legal can become illegal by the concerted action of the conspirators, right? That's kind of what you see happening with what happened with R. Kelly, what you see happen with Diddy, what's going to happen with Diddy and this RICO, all of that kind of stuff. That's what happens when you weave in and out of this conspiracy, this RICO charge. So it says that a person is guilty of conspiracy with another person or persons to commit a crime if with the purpose of promoting or facilitating its commission, he or she agrees with such other persons that they or one or more of them will engage in conduct which constitutes such crime, or an attempt or solicitation to commit such crime, or agrees to aid such other person or persons in the planning or commission of such crime, or of an attempt or solicitation to commit such crime. So you can be a part of a RICO if you agree to help somebody commit a crime, or you can be a part of a RICO if you are willing to engage in conduct which constitutes such crime, or attempt or solicitation to commit a crime. So, or even if you promote or facilitate its commission. So that's how they tie in a lot of these people at the top, because they assume that you are at the very least facilitating its commission. Not saying that you there physically, not saying that you pulled the trigger, not saying that you actually committed a crime, but you facilitated. If you rent a car in your name and a crime is committed in that car, you can be tied into a conspiracy. If you having a party at your house and you invite people over your house, people get the green light from you to come to your house, and then they bring drugs, they bring guns, they commit a crime, you can be now charged with conspiracy, because based on the law, you were either promoting or facilitating its commission. So this is what we're looking at, okay? Conspiracy is a crime in and of itself and is distinct from the crime it contemplates. That's why when you read the charges, let me go back. That's why when you read the charges on Diddy, one of the charges is actually conspiracy, because it's a crime in and of itself to commit it. And then you have the other charge, which is sex trafficking and prostitution and all that kind of stuff. So let me go down here and pull it up. Okay, hold on. Shoot. I had it pulled up right here. Right. Okay. So it says Sean Diddy Combs was charged with sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and prostitution transportation. So you see, conspiracy is his own separate charge. Racketeering is his own special charge. Sex trafficking is his own special and separate charge, and so is prostitution and prostitution transportation. So it says conspiracy is a crime in and of itself and is distinct from the crime it contemplates, or the target crime. In some jurisdiction, an overt act is required. In some, it is not. So in Georgia, as you see with YSL, they was talking about overt acts, meaning there had to be something that was done, like minor crimes, minor incidences that take place. They call those overt acts. And then they pile on those overt acts and they put those and frame those in a way that leads back to you being in the conspiracy, right? So this is what's taking place. So it says that a conspiracy may be a continuing one. Actors may drop out and others may drop in. The details of operation may change from time to time. The members need not know each other or the part played by others. A member need not know all the details of the plan or operations. A member need not know that the target crime is a crime. To be a conspirator or a co-conspirator, only needs to agree to become a party to a plan to effectuate the purpose of the conspiracy. So to become a co-conspirator, all you have to know is, or agree to, is to be a part of whatever they're asking you to do. Not knowing the greater details, you can become a co-conspirator. So I wanted to break that down because that's important, because that's how white supremacy works. They get us through the law in the legal jargon. Now, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us, warned us, not just black people, not just us in the nation, but he's pleaded with us in Black America that our righteousness will sustain us. I'm going to say that again. That our righteousness will sustain us. What's going on, Brother Nathan? Now, this is important because the righteousness will sustain us, meaning what, Brother King Cam? What that means is when we walk in a clean life, when we strive to be upright, when we strive to do the right thing, live the proper life, then you can't get caught up in these conspiratorial traps because they're not deeds that you can get caught up in. What happens in the entertainment industry oftentimes is you get bought into the industry because of your talent. And what happens is all of these crimes are taking place. This prostitution that they're talking about, these quote unquote sex trafficking that they're talking about, all that stuff is happening. What you think was taking place at the Hugh Hefner mansion? What you think was taking place with all of these other big time celebrities? And all these parties that these other people throw. Because they love to talk about Diddy parties, but you know, all these other guys that got parties. A lot of these big time ones with the small hats, you know, they throw a lot of parties too. Matter of fact, what's my man name that everybody be at his party? It's that all white joint too. I'm about to pull it up right now. All white party. Rick Rubin. Now everybody be at Rick Rubin party. All the celebrities be at Rick Rubin party, right? Okay, so Diddy ain't the only one that's having parties. Okay, so the problem is though they invite you to these parties. They got drugs, they got alcohol, they got women at these parties, and because we come from a poor, impoverished background, we never had nothing. Then they offer you $1 million. They offer you a couple $100,000 money that's life-changing to you because now you can buy your mama a house. Now you can buy a nice car. You can buy yourself a nice house. You can take care of your children. You can do all these things now. But now they got you engaging in all this, you know, all this solicit activity. They got you engaging in taking these drugs. They got you engaging with all these beautiful women. They got you doing all these things unbeknownst to you that these things could be used against you later on down the line. These things can be used against you later on down the line. So you go to these places, you go to these parties, you go to these meetings, and they're recording you on recording devices. They're recording you on cameras that you can't see. They have you, and they're watching your moves as you move up, as you become successful, and as you build relationships with them, and you begin to believe that you now have become insulated. And because you reach a certain status like a Diddy, like a Jay-Z, what they call billionaire status, now you become to feel like you are untouchable. And the moment you begin to feel that you're untouchable and you get out of line, I'm talking about how white supremacy works, because they only allow you to go as far as they want. See, you only going to go as far as they want you to go. I want you to understand that. See, there's a ceiling for black people in the entertainment industry. And white supremacy moves the height on that ceiling. White supremacy moves the height on that ceiling. Meaning that the higher you go and you stay in line, they'll keep raising the ceiling for you. Okay. You done made 100 million, we'll raise it for you. As long as you stay in line, you can get 500 million. You can get $1 billion. Now, welcome to the billionaire club. You can hang out on the yacht with Oprah and Epstein and Weinstein. See, you in the billionaire club. So they'll keep raising the ceiling for you as long as you stay in line, as long as you stay within the boundaries. But never forget that you are still a nigga. You are still a slave. And you will always be beneath them. And the moment you begin to even think about your freedom, the moment you begin to think about taking the money that they gave you based on your talent, based on your ability, but they gave it to you. And this is how they think. Not you earned it, but they gave it to you. The minute you decide to take that money and invest in something that will help your people, help free the minds of your people, help free your family, like go after your masters, go after what belongs to you, what's rightfully yours, now you create for yourself a problem. And at that point in time, you're not thinking about what you did 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But remember, they got a long memory. They got a long memory. Yeah. And they document everything. They got you on tape and on video from day one. So that video of him, Diddy and Cassie at the hotel, they been had that. That video ain't nothing new. They been had that. They just was waiting on the time when they needed to use it. They caught Diddy crash out. Okay, bam. That's right, brother Nathan, until you get too big for your britches. So he crashed out. They had the video. You had read the article, said that the video was removed from the hotel servers. Now, who doing that? Who doing that? No, it's nobody but somebody who got big money and expertise on their team that's removing video footage, surveillance footage off of the servers. And they kept it. In a minute that they needed to use it because Diddy got out of line, they gave it to CNN. You heard me reading in the article. It just showed up on the porch one day about Diddy getting into this altercation with Cassie, right? But they knew they was going to use it the whole time. And this is what white supremacy does. So the teaching moment in all of this is that young black men and women coming up, and you aspire to be in the entertainment industry, you aspire to be a sports athlete, star, be a sports figure, understand that's the realm that you stepping into. So you need to make sure that you clean 100% of the time. You got to make sure you clean, because when the police come, they won't find nothing. When the police pull you over, they won't find nothing. But you won't be able to do that if you're not operating the right way, if you're not moving the right way. See, the thing is, we get money and then we want to do too much. We get money and we want to do the most. We want to be outside. We want to do the most. We want to be out here sleeping with everybody, hanging with everybody, doing this, selling that, running around here with all these type of guns. You know you a felon. You know, just doing the most. Just doing the most. And all that stuff end up backfiring on you. So now they got one of the biggest fish in the pond. Not the biggest, not a big fish. He the big fish in his pond. But again, it's levels to this. So Diddy is at the top of the Negro level. Diddy's one of the top Negroes in the entertainment industry. But Diddy got partners who he's been at meetings with, been at parties with. And I was listening to a conversation earlier today, and they said that when the feds came and they raided Diddy's home, they took all of the hard drives and all of that kind of stuff because Diddy had cameras in his house. See, so Diddy was smart. He not dumb. Diddy not dumb. You don't get to the success level that he got to and is at being an idiot. So Diddy's not an idiot. He's a very intelligent brother. And he set himself up to have something to fight with. Yeah, he did the things that he did, and he has to be accountable for those things. But he also made sure, he covered himself to make sure that everybody that came to that residence, he got proof of it. So it could be said that because he got proof of that, the purpose of them coming in and taking stuff out of the house and raiding the house in the first place was possibly to destroy the backup that Diddy had for himself. That's a possibility. I'm just saying. That's a possibility because that's the way that Diddy can fight this. That's the way Diddy can fight this. He was 10 steps ahead of the game. So being 10 steps ahead of the game, he already knew what this was going to be. And he's already seen it happen to other people. You know, he's seen what happened to Bill Cosby. He's seen what happened to R. Kelly. He's seen what happened to Michael Jackson. So he know how the game go. So he planned for it. Because eventually they're going to come for you. If you have the idea of independence, if you have the idea of freedom, if you have the idea of wanting to someday not be a house Negro no more, because I know, some of y'all like being house Negroes. Some of y'all don't have no idea of being anything other than a house Negro. But then some people who become house Negroes, their eyes get open and then they want to become free. They don't want to be with massa no more. All right. And once they get that idea in their head, now they become dangerous. Now they can upset the status quo. They can start to wake the other house Negroes up that's in the house with master. And that becomes a problem for master because now you're riling up the slaves. So what they used to do in the time of slavery is that the moment they knew that they had a free, independent thinking slave who was thinking rebellion, who was thinking freedom, who was thinking separation, who was thinking rise up, they knew we got to get rid of them. And we get rid of them in front of the rest of the slaves because we want to make sure that we send a message to any other slave that he might have talked to that might have put the same idea in their mind. That this is your fate if we catch you. And see, they operated through fear. So they would eliminate that slave in front of the rest of the slaves to instill the fear in all of the slaves. And the fear is what arrested them physically. The fear is what arrested them. See? It's what nailed their hands to the cross. It's what nailed their feet to the cross. So they couldn't move. They couldn't move because of fear. And they did that on purpose because that's how they kept the slaves in line. And this is what they're doing now. Public lynchings. Lynchings aren't just a physical thing. Lynchings can be on a character level, character assassination. It can be on a mental level, emotional level, character assassination, because they don't never have to physically put their hands on you to finish you. And when I mean by finish you, I'm talking about career-wise. I'm talking about character-wise. They can drag your name through the mud so much that businesses won't touch you just off of the mud that's been put on your name. See, that's what you call a crucifixion. So this is what white supremacy do. And this is what happens when you in bed with them and you get out of line. This is what happens. So, you know, that's why it's important to keep your nose clean. That's why it's important for you to do the right thing. That's why it's important for you to stay at home with your significant other if you have one. Don't be out here running around with all of these different women because you will get hemmed up, especially if you are a person that is in the public eye. They watching you. And then the more influence you have, the higher up the pole you go, then the more eyes they put on you. That's how it go. Think about what happened to Ye. Think about what happened with Kyrie. Think about how they dealt with them brothers. And Kyrie ain't even do nothing for the most part. Kyrie wasn't looking to shake up the tree for the most part. And look what they did to him. Ye was looking to shake the tree. And you see what happened to Ye. You seen what happened when Ye was going on his press run, and he was on Tucker Carlson, and he was on Piers Morgan, then he was on Drink Champs. He was going on these platforms, And the minute he jump on Drink Champs, do the interview on Drink Champs, they go ahead and scrub the internet. On YouTube, YouTube scrubs the interview from the internet for the most part. Then they call Nori, and they tell Nori, hey, listen, you know you had Kanye on Drink Champs. If you want to keep the sponsorships for Drink Champs, if you want to keep that money rolling in for Drink Champs, we need you to take down that episode. We need you to take down that episode, and we need you to apologize. Remember, Nori apologized about having Kanye on his platform. And he admitted that he had got a phone call. Yep, same thing with Nick Cannon. When Nick Cannon had our brother Reza Islam on there, as well as Professor Griff, they started teaching some truth. And white supremacy came because they helped fund Nick Cannon. They came to Nick Cannon and said, hey, listen, you need to apologize for having Professor Griff on your show. And the things that Professor Griff said and the things that you said, you need to apologize. This is a pattern of behavior that you see and how Negroes is controlled in Hollywood. I don't care what you talking about. You ain't free unless you just like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You ain't free unless you are free from their money. You ain't free until you can stand on truth, uncompromised. You ain't free. And that's what happened with Nick Cannon, so many of these other people that got these podcasts. They're trying their hardest to control independent black media. They trying their hardest to control independent black media. So anybody who has the spirit and the idea of Farrakhan, because they know he's uncompromised. They know the minister ain't backing down. The minister not bending down. The minister is uncompromised on truth and righteousness. He's not. So they can't get the minister. But anybody that has the idea in the spirit of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in their minds, they're coming after that platform. They're going to demonetize that platform. They're going to keep sponsors from touching that platform because that person and that brand can't get no momentum. Because now you're going to continue to push the idea. Like I was telling you about the house Negroes. That's what happens. They don't want no field niggas getting the house niggas off the plantation. That's real. They just don't want it. They don't want no field niggas getting the house niggas off the plantation. They don't want no free people coming in talking to the slaves, riling up the slaves. That's just real talk. That's real talk. So that's what you got going on. You always got to remember, because remember, Bill Cosby, not only did he put in to purchase the network, but he also had property that was sitting on very valuable resources. Very valuable resource. They said it was oil. He had property in Pennsylvania sitting on oil. They wanted to purchase the property from Bill Cosby because this is what they do. They find out that, we have access to resources, or, we sitting on resources. We got property, things like that. I'm pretty sure Bill Cosby well aware when he purchased the property what he had. And what happens is they come in and they won't take. Because that's what they do. They come in and they pillage and they steal and they overthrow the natives. Remember, this is in their history. So that's what they do. They go to other people's land and they steal, kill, and destroy. So they saw what Bill Cosby had and they wanted it. So they come in nice at first and they ask him to sell it. And when he refused to sell it, now they go to other means about how they're going to take it anyway. So when they decide they're going to take it from him, now they create circumstances around the Cosbys that would force him to give up what it is that they want. So this is the wickedness that you're dealing with. These are the things that you're dealing with, family. And we have to, as a people, can't fall for the propaganda. Stop falling for the propaganda. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're too old to be falling for propaganda. You know, my daughter fall for propaganda. My 2-year-old daughter, she'll fall for propaganda because she don't know no better. She don't have the ability to research and to follow up the things that I say. So she take what I say for face value, which she should because I'm her parent. She trusts me. And you shouldn't take advantage of your children because they ignorant of the fact. But you, a grown 25, 35, 45, 55-year-old person should not be taking these entities for face value. You can consume the information, but then do your research. And when I mean do your research, find out the source of that information. I hate when people say do your research, but then they don't say anything after do your research. Because do your research is broad and general as I don't know what. Not just do your research, but find out the source. Find out, is there a primary source? Find out what's the secondary source. Find out where that information came from. Do the research on the people that's writing these articles. Do the research on these editors. Find out what's their background. That's what doing your research is. Looking for the connections. Say, okay, what's this connected to and what's that connected to? And always ask the question, why? Why would they say that? Why would they print that? Why would they put that out? What's the purpose? Get familiar with words and the legal ramifications of things. Just like we broke down conspiracy earlier, that's what you got to do. To find out exactly what does that term mean? What does RICO charge mean? So you can know how they using it. That's what do your research is. Become educated, become familiar. Get to know what's going on. Because you can't afford to be ignorant, meaning you can't afford to not know. Or, as we learned earlier with the conspiracy, you can become a part of a conspiracy and don't even know it. The comments that you put on social media can be part of the greater conspiracy that you have no idea of. But because of your ignorance, you become a part of it. You become a co-conspirator and don't even know. Think about that. And that's what happens, and that's what's happening. And many of us are unaware of the fact. So I'm trying to empower you here on Shifting the Culture. This is what we do. We want to empower you so that you don't be ignorant out here in these streets. You can't be ignorant. Nah, Ye was just talking about how they was trying to silence him again on something. He was just on Candace Owens' platform, and she got into it with the small hats on her platform, and now they demonetized her. They took her podcast down. They took down her podcast show that she had with Kanye. So that was just like last week or 2 weeks ago that took place. So it's constantly happening. They always on their job with making sure that they can continue to suppress our voice and to keep us quiet about what's going on and to stop us from speaking truth to power. This is real talk. So we gotta stand up and stand on it, and we gotta have each other back. The minister said, never take the enemy's side. Never take his side. Never take the enemy side. Never take his side. I don't care what your brother or sister did. You never take the enemy side. Now, you can take your brother in the back room and your sister and talk to them in the back room, slap them up, cuss them out, do whatever it is you got to do because you know what they did was wrong. But you know what your parents told you when it came to your brothers and sisters. You don't never take nobody from the outside against your brothers and sisters. You don't never side with them. You don't never side with them. And that's how we got to operate as a family. That's how we got to be on code. That's how we got to be unified. That's how we got to move. Never take the enemy side. So we got to walk it down. We got to walk it down, and we can't crash out. We can't crash out here. We got to always be on point. That's why we can't be doing drugs. You can't be high out here. You can't be out of shape out here. You got to be on point. You know what I'm saying? Like your peripheral got to be on point. Everything, your movements got to be on point because we are at war. That's it. It's real now. See, before you could just attribute the war and the fight to everybody that was out on the front lines, but now people are engaged on the grassroots level and they are touching the grassroots level. They paying attention to the grassroots level, and they are targeting those who are influential in the grassroots, because in the FBI COINTELPRO documents, it says that they was looking for someone who could electrify the masses. With social media, you don't have to go to the mainstream media to get influence and attention and power. Now you can build that on social media, so anybody can be a target if you can electrify the masses, especially the militant organizations around freedom, justice, and equality. So this is what they looking for. This is what they looking at. And that's why we got to be on code. That's why we got to be on point. And that's why we got to make sure that we standing on business with our family. That's just real talk. Yeah. Appreciate you, Ray. Salute. You know, I'm just doing what I was born to do. Family. So listen, we're not going to be late. It's late over here on the East Coast, so we're going to go ahead and jump off. But I want you all to make sure that you stay locked in. I want you to make sure that we stay tapped in. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. And what I want you to do is I want you to lock in with us and join our text list by texting STC Podcast to 888-294-2793. Again, text the word STC Podcast to 888-294-2793, because what we need to do is we got to build a base offline. We have to build a base offline, because what happens is they can at any time take down all social media platforms. You seen them do it to Alex Jones. You seen them do it to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You seen them do it to Donald Trump. They can get you off of social media. They can get you out the paint. They can get you off of Twitter. They can get you off of Facebook, Instagram, lifetime bans, right? So with the text list and the email list, those type of things help us to stay in contact, so that when we move off a grid, when we have our own websites with our own servers and things like that, as we building up with that stuff, once we get it going, we can bring you over and you able to tap in. All right. So that's the importance of that. So make sure, family, that you are becoming a part of the text community. STC Podcast, right? You text that to 888-294-2793. STC Podcast to 888-294-2793. All right, family. So in every broadcast, we're going to have that out for y'all. Okay. Every broadcast, we're going to have that out for y'all, so you'll be able to tap in and you'll be able to know and be able to stay in contact with us, because that's what's happening. Because best believe they're coming for all platforms that's speaking truth. Any platform that's effectively speaking truth to power, they will come to take it down. That's just real. So we'll be on point. Appreciate you for checking in. Peace and blessings.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a guy out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say. They see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. And then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big. You feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair. You had the advantage. We wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy. Toby ain't my name. Y'all still wanna think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of